Friends, the world is gone nuts. We have now Venezuela in turmoil, and we have Iran having the beginnings of a revolution internally. And that may be good news for us. In fact, the truth is, this is all about China. I'm going to show you things tonight that no one else has shown you. I'm going to show you the threat that China was actually posing in the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. Yes, China had actually planned war. They had war games, war simulations in the Gulf of Mexico and in China, the Caribbean Sea, including right up to Houston. And so we think this is all about Venezuelan oil. What if we lost our oil terminals in Houston area, which produces something like 75% of our energy in the United States? A lot more is at play here than you know. And I'm going to show you this, but I'm going to show you also the greater threat that Iran could play in our hemisphere and why what Donald John Trump is doing, why his Don Roe uh, doctrine is vital, why it is absolutely vital to our national security. Why, if these steps hadn't been taken, we had been in more trouble than you can imagine. And look, guys, this show is not over. We are in World War III. It is something of a Cold War with hot pockets right now. It could go a lot more ballistic. And had these preventative measures not been taken, it might have got a lot worse. So there's a lot of good news right now, but there's a lot to be holding your breath over. There's a lot to be concerned about. So that's what we're going to go into here. And I will check the chat room on this stuff later. And we'll do our egg count later. Pardon my camera. I can't get my expensive, super expensive camera I bought to work upon my return from my travels. More into that later. But let's get straight into the news because we're going to go in. And first, we're going to start talking about Iran because that's breaking. What's happening in Iran is breaking. Then I'm going to show you the actual threat that nobody else, nobody on YouTube has brought to you. So buckle up, my friends. You're going to see it all right here in a second if I hit the right button. Sometimes I hit the kill switch instead of the share switch. They're right next to each other. Guys, right now in Iran, in 111 cities and growing, there are major protests. And in fact, these protests are such that that the cities of Mel Shahi, pardon, I don't speak Farsi or whatever they speak around, and Abdanan have already basically been overtaken by the protesters because the police in those cities sided with the protesters. They abandoned fighting the protesters and they switched sides. Well, this happened in other cities. In fact, the province of Elam apparently has gone the same way. And this is good news for those that like to see the end of the Ayatollah regimes, those that like to see the end of Khomeini. Uh, so this could be a major, major change, but this has got bigger ramifications. It's got global ramifications beyond the terrorism and actions in the Middle East because Iran supplies about 25% of the oil going to China. And China needs a lot of oil to keep running and to keep its war machine active. So if China is losing a major leg of the resources, it might change their plans on Taiwan. They were planning pretty much to do the same thing to us. I'm going to show you that in a minute. So apparently this is a big checkmate, double checkmate for what's going on in the world right now that may fall in our favor. This is something you better be praying for and praying diligently because things are getting nuts. I'm going to show you more on this, but 111 cities in rising. Now you can expect Iran has been under threat from the United States, saying that if they started shooting at their citizens, that Donald Trump said he's locked and loaded, said he'll go in. He said that kind of stuff before, and people thought, well, that's Taco. That's, Trump always chickens out. Well, guess what? Trump don't always chicken out. In fact, he don't. He's just been moving the chess pieces around. And then the move in Venezuela just showed everybody, and the previous bombing and ran by our B2 showed everybody, no, he takes decisive action, and he does it at the time of his choosing and with brilliant effectivity. Now, I do not think that the centrifuges were there in Isfahan as they thought, but the fact that those operations were pulled off the way they are was nothing less than stunning. Uh, so whether you agree with it, what happened or not, this got the world's attention, and this is having so much ramifications that even the Ayatollah has plans now that if the unrest gets worse, if he can't control it, to flee to Moscow with 20 of his closest aides and other Ayatollahs and family members. He's got the plans, according to rumors, set in place. And furthermore, there are rumors that we've got tankers, aircraft, tanker aircraft to refuel our fighters and bombers on the way to that region right now. Are we going to do something there? I don't know. But let's go more into it. I don't know what's going to happen there. But we didn't know what was going to happen in Venezuela either, did we? Uh, anyway, so this breaks in many different directions. For one, there is this big economic uh, collection in Iran called the Grand Bazaar. This is the merchants. This isn't like a mall or a shopping center. This is the merchants across Iran, the merchant class. They call them the bazaar. It's kind of like, where you sell something, right? You would think in American terms. But the merchants supported the Ayatollahs taking over in the first place, but now they turned against them. And they turned against them because of severe economic factors and other things where it's just not going in their favor in Iran. The Ayatollahs have failed. For example, the Iranian rial, which is the currency of Iran in 2015, it took 32,000 of them to equal a dollar. In 2022, it took 430,000 equal a dollar. And today it takes 1,420,000 equal a dollar. And what's worse is that since 1979, the inflation, the real, has been 20,000%. Doesn't sound like they've had a outstanding record of economic performance, does it? Even though they are an oil nation, and there was some subsidies that Iran was subsidizing for the merchants, so they was like a subsidized dollar deal where they could buy goods from overseas at a discount rate or a fairly stable price. Well, Iran has stopped that because they don't have the money to support it anymore. And furthermore, on top of all that, Iran just announced major new taxes on these merchants. And so the merchant says, "Hey, you're deflating our money away. It's worthless, and now you're wanting to tax us out the teeth. We cannot. We're already losing everything. We got nothing to operate on." And so they've been decimated by the Ayatollah regime, and they just can't operate economically. So the merchant class has rebelled along with the rest of the citizenry over there is rebelling. So this is a major development in what's happening there. You can expect that the IRGC will probably go in and try to take a more decisive action against these two cities I mentioned in the province, which seem to have totally rebelled, to put things back into control. But that may elicit the Trump administration to do something or further reaction from their own people. It may backfire and blow over. It's not going to be taken well. In the past, when they went out and taken these decisive actions, the results have been that let's get back over to this pictures for the newcomers. This is all the new sites. It's some of them actually. It's 111. I don't think this has got all 111 cities where the protests are going on. These protests are now in their 10th day. And even though people are getting shot at, it's not abating. It's just picking up steam, unlike the previous protest. There's been a lot of protests in Iran over the past few years, and this one is by far the biggest one, and it's not relenting. It's just picking up and picking up and picking up even more. And because of that, it's really thought that the Ayatollahs are really in trouble this time. So we can hope and pray that the Ayatollah regime has seen its last days. This protest has been joined by students. Remember, students that supposedly overthrew the Shah and took hostages in our embassy back in 1979, for those of you that may remember. Well, now these students and workers and now the merchants are all protesting, and calling, what their protesters are saying, death to Khomeini, death to the dictator, things like that. So, um, and it's been said that major IRGC, Iranian Revolutionary Guard bases have been destroyed, that government buildings have been destroyed, and that these people are blocking roads off to inhibit the movement of government. So, as I mentioned, and for those just joining, the Ayatollah Khomeini supposedly has plans to flee to Moscow. Now, Maduro was given options to flee. In fact, even the United States tried to help broker some of these, but he wouldn't take it up on them. But I think the Ayatollah in this case may be saying, maybe I got to follow Assad's example from Syria and just get the heck out while the getting's good. So that may happen. He may just disappear all at once. And the people there, I think, will be celebrating should that happen. Uh, they're just tired of the oppression, the dictator regime of Ayatollah Khomeini. And as you may know, he's also been supported massively by China. China basically bankrolled his government, gave him, billions of dollars. I've covered that in the past. And the people in Iran were not happy with that because they knew that had them beholden to China, that they would have a lot of strings attached to that. But it was already the case. And China, though, has been reliant on Iran because Iran has been one of their little foot soldiers, a proxy for them, just like Iran used Hamas and the Hezbollah as proxy organizations to create mayhem in the Mid East. Uh, and in the Americas, the Ayatollah regime was used by China for the same purpose against the Western world, because China's long-term goal has been to become the number one power on earth. They've stated it, it's in their doctrine, and to do that, they got to take down the United States. And part of the game has been the drugs that have been, yeah, my heart goes out to them too. All the drugs that's been coming to this country, and how many people we lost more than in so many wars. It's not funny. I've shown you all that in previous video. So, go back and look at some old stuff. But the funny thing is, I try to have some continuity and not have to repeat stuff over and over and over. But when you got 67,000 subscribers and only 1,000 or two watch any given video, then that means a lot of people don't know what I said in the past, and they come in, they get mad about something I'm saying. Well, tough noogies. Watch my videos for Pete's sakes. Good gracious. Do I need to repeat everything every time? You can't do it. It's just too much stuff. But anyway, a lot of stuff's happening around, like major explosion, Rock's Dairy Factory. Uh, and here they're talking about the two cities right here. I don't know how you pronounce these, but I tried my best here. The two cities are reportedly taken over by the people, and they're celebrating in the streets, and they're saying death to hominy. And that's the way I understand the correct pronunciation is. I always say Khomeini, and I hear that all the time. But I've heard some Iranians say hominy. And, I got your hominy right here. Anyway, I got him. He's been captured by Green Gregs. I'm holding him hostage here in the desert. It should be over. I got him right here. You see? Hominy. Anyway, so let's go on. Uh, Now, here's what the people are saying. I don't know if you saw that sign. Let me blow this up. And maybe I'll stop it when she holds the sign back up. Maybe I got to replay it here. Here we go. Whoop. Pardon me, guys. Trump, a symbol of peace. Don't let them eliminate us all. I'm using the other word, off us all. You know what I mean? You got to be careful what you say on YouTube. At least some of us channels have to. And actually, this is painted all over buildings and street corners. These kind of words right there. It's appearing all over Iran. So this is not a one-off. This is something that's been there. There you go. It's on some street. Here we go. Look at this. So on top, there it is on the street. See that, guys? Trump here the saying is a symbol of truth. Again, don't let them kill. And they're writing it in English. Why? Because they want us to see it. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Now, again, about a quarter of China's petroleum comes from Iran. This could take the wind out of their war machine, maybe from attacking Taiwan. I don't know. They're really heck bent, all bent out of shape on hitting Taiwan. I think they wanted to hit Taiwan real soon. And not just that, not just that. See, this is what I'm telling you guys. China conducts war games near Mexico and Cuba as Beijing makes rare announcement to show off their military might. Well, they were doing this in the middle of December. They were starting to finally feel cocky. China has run war games near Mexico and Cuba, with Beijing becoming increasingly brazen in brandishing its military might in the Western Hemisphere. Why? Because they thought they could finally pull something off. They thought they had an edge. And Donald John Trump played their card. This recent war games by PRC reveals extensive dual use infrastructure throughout Latin America. Dual use means they could use it for their military. And that's why we've been concerned about the Panama Canal, because they control ports on both sides, and we need to be able to get our military ships, our navy ships, from the east to the west. And they were also trying to make inroads. Well, Milei took over Chile and spoiled their plans in Chile. And I think they're not Chile, Argentina. I think their Chilean plan just got spoiled too. They were planning to cut us off, uh, around the Strait of Magellan, just south of South America, between South America and Antarctica. And one of the reasons Donald John Trump is so interested in uh, Greenland is to keep them from cutting us off in the Arctic, as they've had some designs to do. So, yeah, on the 19th of December, this affiliate of the state-run Chinese Central Television ran a story about this stuff, explaining all these war games that they'd been holding. Now, they held them in the Henan province. Uh, and they simulated these fighting in Cuba, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean, however you want to say it. So this talks about the dual use, and yeah, the Chinese use of deep space radar, and yeah, that was in Argentina. I bet that'll be ended. So, guys, all these Barbados. Uh, all this stuff going on with China. Now it's going to be worse. I'm going to show you some stuff that's going to knock your pants off in a minute. Right here. So what if China imported missiles into Venezuela? Now we know that Iran has been sending. I've reported to you guys in Donald Trump's first administration how Iran was sending missiles, a lot of missiles to Venezuela. And you may also remember Stacy Zavicki's vision that there would be a launch of two missiles from off the shore of Venezuela that would EMP the eastern and midsections of the United States of America and put us in a blackout grid down and a major, major world of hurt. Now, what if China took its same missiles that it uses for its anti-access aerial denial strategy to keep us away from China if we go to war with them, to keep us from defending Taiwan, which is here within this inner circle here? These are the ranges of some of the missiles that China could theoretically deploy in South America, just as Iran was doing. And we know there were a lot of stuff going to Venezuela. Right now, there's a ship we thought was an oil tanker, supposedly, that's fleeing to beat the band from being captured. And suddenly it's got reflagged as a Russian ship. It's supposed to be an Iranian ship, and now it's been escorted by a Russian submarine. What is on that ship, for Pete's sakes? Why is that ship so important that we would pursue an empty ship? There's something really fishy. We'll get to that in a minute. But guys, I want you to look at this. 3,000 kilometers. 3,000 kilometers right here range on these. Guys, that is 1,800 miles. That is 1,800 miles. 5,500 kilometers. That's 3,300 miles for, us Americans here. These are the medium range ballistic missiles and the intermediate range. It's not intercontinental ballistic missiles. These are battlefield type missiles that China has developed scores of and has available to attack even Guam, our aircraft carriers, and far out. So what if they deployed missiles like this in the Gulf of Mexico? Well, guess what? This is what nobody else is announced the Gulf of Mexico and Venezuela. Nobody else on YouTube is showing you what I'm going to show you because I had generated this map. This is your this is the your medium range right here. That's this band right here, medium range ballistic missiles, and this is the interim range ballistic missiles. Guys, look what all falls within these ranges. Well, the Panama Canal easily. In fact, guys, I've also shown y'all videos and pictures and articles where China has tested using these missiles, launching them out of ISO cargo containers. They even did one that was like two cargo, 240-foot containers welded together for a complete sail-out launching rocket. So they could put a full intercontinental ballistic missile in the cargo ship, basically. And you may recall, I've been reporting from the inception of my channel about the missiles that were in the North Korean ship known as a Changchun steaming around down here back in 2016 when same time that the attack occurred on the Metcalf station and their first satellite flew over Washington, D.C., which is highly suspicious. So, guys, it could be that they could get out here anywhere and fire these missiles if they got enough control in this area, or even without the control, because they could do it where you wouldn't even know it, coming off of a cargo ship. But I base this on a certain peninsula. There's this Josepha Cameo, I don't know what international airport. It's on a little peninsula inside here. That airport has an airstrip 2 miles long. And that's what I based as the launch location, not Caracas. Uh, you can see Miami's in range. New Orleans, heck, I'm in range even over here. This guy, he's not going to waste his few missiles on me, but there's a lot of military targets and a lot of cities and infrastructure, including our oil. And apparently, some of their simulations, I didn't go through all the text, the articles I showed you, but they were practicing having operations up near Houston. Houston was specifically named. Now, why would they name Houston? Well, because we got a lot of oil there. So Gulf of Mexico and Mexico drills. This art says near Houston, Texas, Caribbean Sea and Cuba, South and Central America, Peru, naval presence. This is part of their Silk Road arc in the Caribbean, what they're trying to set up. All right, here's why it's important right here. This is our major refineries. So all down here in the Houston area. I just drove a few days ago, a little over a week ago, through Lake Charles, Louisiana. You talk about refineries; they're all over the place there. And there's also the oil terminals at the port of Houston, and all those big tanks. If those were destroyed, it'd be like an atomic explosion, and you'd have to evacuate Houston just from all the contamination in the air, all the burning petroleum. You just have to evacuate it just from that alone. So, geopolitical shifts. Recent reports indicate significant volatility in trade following the reported out. Yeah, so this is changing everything. There's going to be a lot of changes. So, yeah, let's see. From Venezuela, China gets about 4.5% of their oil from, but from the Iran, they get over 55%. Oh no, that's ours. That's what's coming out of our in the United States, excuse me. In the United States, 55 to 58% of our petroleum comes from this area. But when you look at crude oil production, 75% of it now, see, that's the refined stuff because some of it goes to refineries other places. So 75% of the crude oil comes through the Gulf of Mexico, mainly through the Houston terminals and other terminals down here. I've seen a lot of oil outfits down here in Louisiana back when I did some of my balloon launch operations. So this is all petroleum. This is a huge petroleum production area. And you'd basically lose 75% of your fuel if this area was attacked, just that area alone. And that would cripple the United States unquestionably. Not to mention, if they could block the Mississippi River, by hitting ships in the Mississippi River, and cut off the entire midsection of the country from being able to trade uh, in our agricultural products. And sometimes this, things going from Mississippi River to the rivers in the east to supply ports in the east to supply the eastern states of the United States, or the canal, maybe out west. So Trump corollary is in effect, basically. Uh, so this is all coming out of the national security strategy they put out about saying nobody else should be operating in our hemisphere. And now I think you can see why that's important. And this graphic here, you've never seen this before because I produced it. No other YouTuber talking in the prepper sphere is a rocket scientist other than me. So I don't know why my videos get quashed so strongly. Why don't I get more views? Anyway, you guys can help me with that. But because, guys, I was talking sleeper cells before anybody knew how to pronounce it. Way back in 2018, I started talking to you about the threat of sleeper cells. Who else was talking about it? Nobody. It's crickets. I started warning you about a lot of things way before a lot of other channels that hadn't even got started yet, talking the same stuff without a tenth of the knowledge, who've blown up and become million subscriber channels. But anyway, so much for that. Uh, so something to watch out for, though, is that China has an edge on silver. They're trying to control silver now because apparently they bought up a lot of it over the past few years. They're trying to control it like the other rare earth minerals. And that's probably just going to cause the prices to shoot up even more. So if they're doing that, it might be a good time to come to defythegrid.com and use discount code GreenGregs to get 1% off and get you some silver, maybe some gold, because silver is now what they're really thinking is going to shoot up. So just something to think about. You can get these gold backs. I'm fond of those. But there's also a silver version of that. So check it out. Let's go and look at some other things here. So what a lot of people aren't aware of is that Hezbollah has been operating out of Venezuela in a major fashion. They've been running money laundering, drug trafficking, logistical hubs. They're tied to the Maduro regime. I'll show you more on that. Iran-linked operatives may have entered the United States with Venezuelan passports. And there's a ton of articles I've got on this topic, including congressional testimony like this. Uh, so, so we're talking about the role of Venezuela plays as a weaponizer and strategically engineering the world's largest mass migration. 8.2 million people fled Venezuela because it was so bad there. And 1.5 million of them entered the United States. Now, most of them were not with passports. They were coming across our southern border, which Joe Biden threw wide open, and they were being assisted. Now, Venezuela actually had the money to assist them. Oh, yeah. They went to the Darien Gap down here and gave them assistance crossing that gap. They actually even flew and transported some to other areas so they could find better access to our southwestern border. So they were majorly supporting that. So I kid you not, strategic engineered migration. Get this, strategic engineered migration, trying to destabilize the United States. Oh, look what kind of maps and plans they were talking about there. They had some big visions. This is congressional testimony right here. I don't make this stuff up. Maduro, Hezbollah nexus, how Iran backed networks prop up the Venezuelan regime. Iran was doing a lot to help Venezuela, and Venezuela in return was doing what? Sending gold. Venezuela don't have refineries. Nobody else has got refineries for their thick crude oil, more than the United States, actually. The United States has set up to refine itself a long time ago, and those refineries are running pretty vacant. I guess that'd change real fast. But here's what's funny. Iran, excuse me, Venezuela mined on Indian lands, on Native American lands, illegally apparently mined gold and sent it and stole gold from the Venezuelan people and sent it to Iran. How much? 9 tons. 9 tons of gold bars. This is a cartoon with some Venezuelan that says 9 tons of gold sure would buy a lot of food. The poor starving people of Venezuela. Mm. And it got so bad that one of the Maduro's uh, head honchos, his head spy, the spy chief, the guy who was a general under Hugo Chavez previously, he defected to Europe and he got brought to the United States, extradited to the United States. He got arrested and extradited to the United States, where he's probably going to serve at least 20 years because of he pled guilty to drug trafficking, all the things that Maduro's been charged of. He pled guilty to it. And then he went further on to talk about how the Maduro regime runs drugs, gangs, and spies inside the United States of America. And furthermore, it's alleged by some that he's got a list of key U.S. politicians, especially senators, that have been paid off by Venezuela. Now, Snopes is apparently trying to kind of disparage this, but Snopes has always been known to have a little bit of a liberal bent, and this list hasn't actually officially came out yet. But there are other rumors that it exists. So, yeah, a list of politicians have been receiving millions of dollars in kickbacks from the regime. Why? So they would stay quiet and sit on their hands and not do anything. That these, drug cartels and gangs, they pay off politicians and police. That's what they've always done. That anybody that might be a threat, they try to get them on their side by paying them off, especially making a lot of money. So let's go back to this one. I think if I hit this, it'll show some of the names that are suggested to be on this list. A whole lot of names with D and a few R's, like Lisa Murkowski, no surprise there. Now, I don't know, and I can't say for sure that these people took kickbacks or who did or who didn't. But you can bet there's a good chance that somebody in the United States was getting them. And maybe this is one good reason why Donald Trump didn't announce this arrest activity he did in Venezuela, which snagged Maduro, to the Congress ahead of time. Because had he done that, the element of surprise would have been taken from him. Everybody down there would have known about it. You can't do a surprise secret operation when you got people in the House who want to be opposed to it and who would inform the other side. And if they weren't getting kickbacks, there were people just ideologically would have called the Maduro regime, hey, we're coming, they're sending blah, 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 blah. And this is what they're going to do. Yeah, they would have spilt the whole beans to them, I'm convinced. So, uh, anyway, but what he did there is not without precedence. What Trump did in Venezuela has precedence in what Herbert Walker Bush did with Manuel Noriega in Panama. So, anyway, so Venezuela's opposition leader, this Maria Corina Machado, is promised that she would help Donald Trump rebuild the country and even give him her Nobel Prize. Now, if I was Trump, I wouldn't take a Nobel Prize awarded to somebody else. It's just not the same as getting one awarded to you, and that would look kind of petty. I hope he don't do that, but gosh, who knows? But she's offered it because, at first she was kind of fingered as being the person because she was, rumors has it. I got to say it that way because it's a platform I'm on, which don't allow you to say certain things out in elections. But rumors has it that there was a landslide election that was very much in her favor. Let's just put it that way. And hopefully y'all can still be able to come back here tomorrow for saying that. But like I said, rumors has it. But in any event, a lot of people, including the government of the United States, do not accept the outcome of that election. But apparently, Trump, at the behest and urging of the CIA, decided to go with supporting Delcy Rodriguez, who got sworn in as vice president as part of the old Maduro regime. So that's not what we'd hope to see. In any event, here is some people celebrating, and they're celebrating down here in Venezuela after Maduro was taken. There's a lot of that kind of video, a lot of that stuff. But there's also some videos of people that were protesting it. But it turns out that it's believed that those protests were organized by by the insiders on the Maduro government, basically, by the socialist network there. So, uh, but now here's what's crucial. Spida, whether he sticks with uh, Delcy Rodriguez or whoever else may take over, because there's still a quagmire down there. Trump demands Venezuela kick out China and Russia and partner only with the United States on oil. And why is that critical? Well, that goes all the way back to what I just showed you guys back over here. That's why that's critical, because we don't need China getting that kind of a foothold, especially given that they're already practicing war games and have identified dual use facilities for military civilian activities, yeah, for military activities basically in Central and South America. So that's something that we don't need. So the fact that Trump is demanding that Venezuela kick out China and Russia, that's probably the biggest thing of this. This is why I'm saying this is all about China. This is all about China more than anything. But Maduro's motorcycle thugs are going door to door hunting Trump supporters in Venezuela. Not a good thing. Let's hope something stops that. And who knows, maybe those supporters will turn around and put Maria Corina Machado back in power uh, instead of Delcy Rodriguez. Anyway, there's a alliance between the civil side and the military alliance on the socialist in Venezuela, which is divided. So, and plus there's the people that want to see Maria Corina Machado put in power, and or just get the Maduro regime out. So it's not a foregone conclusion how all this is going to play out in Venezuela. Three rival factions vie for control, as I mentioned. So, anyway, back to the other stuff. Russia sent a submarine to stop Trump from taking that runaway tanker, which is heading toward the Baltics right now. That's breaking news. And Britain has signed a deal to deploy troops to Ukraine, supposedly peacekeeping troops. The whole reason that Russia went into Ukraine was to keep NATO forces out of Ukraine. So, and apparently the United States is backing this now. Look here. The proposal ceasefire backed for the first time by the United States. I don't think Russia's going to support it. I don't think they're going to go with it. I think they'll just keep on fighting. I don't say it. In fact, this might intense the fight. This may be the powder keg for real World War III right there. This, it basically says, hey, we're going to defend Ukraine, even if they're not in NATO, as if they were in NATO. It's like a de facto Article 5. We'll put our troops there. We're there. We'll defend them right off the bat. And that will probably set Russia off more than anything. That's been their worst fear. So, yikes. That is, like I said, Europeans are meddling in this. So, earthquakes. The biggest earthquake is over here in the Philippines. So they got a big earthquake and two big aftershocks. They got a 6.4 in Beckons, Philippines. And one of the last aftershocks is a 4.6. So God bless the people in the Philippines. They've been having it rough lately. Look at this one. 5.2 in Pakistan. And Kamchatka Peninsula is still rocking. There's a 5.2 there. A lot of stuff up in Alaska. A few things on the ring of fire here. Alaska's been relaxed. And the Puerto Ricans are dancing hard as usual. We got one here in the Indian Ocean. 5.4. Anyway, enough of that. Space weather. Nothing too concerning right now. Some sunspots, but not the big ugly ones we saw recently. And there is a coronal hole. but it's not ginormous. There is the expectation that we'll have a minor G1, a geomagnetic storm on the 9th, but that's nothing to be getting worried about. We got a planetary alignment going on, but that's pretty typical. Anyway, so let's stop this. I'm going to talk to you just for a few minutes here and then go to share. I got a very expensive camera to bring y'all better video and better sound quality. And I took it with me and it got knocked off all the settings. I spent like a day or two just trying to get it set up to use for videos here. And I just tried to set it up. I can't find my manual for it. I couldn't find the charger instead of using a battery where I could use a plug-in fake battery into it. I couldn't find the little piece that fit into that. Yeah, I lost some stuff when I went back and forth. I've been gone for 2 weeks, and I just got back a couple of days ago, and I'm trying to get resituated. I haven't done videos because of OPSEC. OPSEC is you don't tell people where you're at. You don't tell people when you're not here. And next time I'm not on doing videos for 2 weeks, don't think I'm gone because the previous 2 or 3 times that I was, in fact, all the previous times since November of 2024 that I wasn't doing videos for 2 or 3 weeks is because my work overpowered everything. I was working extra hours overtime, and one occasion because I was taking some classes. So I just couldn't do the videos. I just didn't have any time at all. So you got to remember, I'm still running and trying to develop the homestead here, doing a day job. So this is tough for me to do. Uh, but I did spend a lot of time, I thought, learning how to use that camera, and I can't get it reset. I don't know. I put it where it should have been, and it's not working. I think maybe the camera is not good now. I don't know. But I just threw away a lot of the boxes and stuff. I just threw them away that I got. I don't know if I can even return the darn thing. It's very expensive. Sony SV E10 camera. It'll take me a year or two just to want to earn off YouTube to pay for the thing. Yeah, I was told by another friend on another channel who makes lots of money on YouTube that my picture quality was too bad, my sound quality was too bad. I needed to do this, I needed to do that. I needed to buy these little fuzzy mic. I spent a lot of money setting all this stuff up and taking classes and doing other things to try to promote my channel where it would grow more. And all my channel's done is shrink. None of that's worked. It's cost me a lot of I spent a lot of money to try to build this channel up, and it's done the opposite. It is just it's the views are going down, people are unsubscribing. I don't know. You try all kind of things, and I was really hopeful that maybe I could catch up and perform a fraction as well as my friend I mentioned, and it just hasn't worked out for me. So I don't know. But all that aside, uh, I got to refigure that camera out because it did bring better picture and better sound. How do I sound? How are y'all hearing me? Tell me in the chat room if you can hear what I'm saying. I'm gonna go to the chat room here in a little bit, scroll through it, see what you guys are saying. Not real deep into it because it's 1 in the morning. I got to get up and work, and I had some tachycardia today, just a little bit ago. I had to take some meds for it because my heart rate was just through the roof. How do y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? So I'm watching on my phone, y'all in the chat room. Uh, Sound is good. Okay, good, good, good. I'm glad to hear that. I was just told my sound was bad. I'm using my old webcam, and I know the picture quality is not as good, and I don't think the sound is as good as it was. But that's all I could do tonight. It's not live. Don't leave. It's not live. Don't leave, Greg. Loud and clear. I'm glad to hear him loud and clear. Yeah, I'm having. I've been struggling to try to keep up, and I seem to be falling behind. So I don't know. It is what it is. So let's just talk a second. What's really happening in the big picture is that Donald Trump has taken a lot of actions. See, there's basically, a couple of outcomes we were trying to be shepherded into. Either China takes over everything, or it all goes to the World Economic Forum. And World Economic Forum was using a lot of things to try to lure us in to their globalist designs, including, their climate change stuff, trying to change their entire industrial base. And set things up the way they wanted because they wanted to set up another form of socialistic control, and that sphere of influence was mainly out of Europe. Donald Trump has attacked, those crowds and networks in Europe, and the Europeans aren't taking it well. But his administration, him and J.D. Vance and Rubio have all been kicking sand at those guys. And, I got to applaud that because we didn't want to, I never want to see us fall in the house of Klaus. As you know, looks like I'm kind of wonker jawed here. There we go. Sideways. Anyway, the House of Klaus has been kicked down a little bit. So I'm kind of glad to know that the influence of the House of Klaus isn't what it was, and that's good news to me. And they're pushing back on that. In fact, they've been wanting to thwart free speech and all kind of things. It's been Klaus Schlauber and one of the predecessors pushing that direction. David Rockefeller. They both went to China and said, "Oh my gosh, this is perfect. This is the way we need to model our society." Including the social credit systems. They loved that. They loved all the camera control they're putting over there to control the population. And those cameras were basically been set up in Venezuela too. China was setting up a system in Venezuela for the Maduro regime to control the people over there to the nth degree. Now, the problem the people in Venezuela has is they're not armed. The regular people aren't. There's militias, but the militias are beholden to the drug cartels and to Maduro's regime. The people themselves got disarmed, and so they're having a hard time establishing their liberty. But so there were really two big spheres that were pulling us in, one being China and the other being the House of Klaus. Trump is trying to put an alternative in there called Make America Great Again, where it's like, man, we don't need either one of you. We're going to be uh, our own power here in our own hemisphere. And the reason it's important to be a power in our hemisphere is that you got people like China who would come into our soft underbelly and do things that could cause us great harm. I just showed you that in my previous slides a few minutes ago. You can see the picture I drew of what those missiles could reach the United States, most of the United States, the stuff that they're putting off China right now. We're talking about intercontinental ballistic missiles. And yeah, those missiles, that includes the Dongfeng 17, which can be equipped with their hypersonic glide vehicle. So their targets could be hard to take out, and they could reach in the United States, and they could do it a lot faster than an intercontinental ballistic missile. We're just talking a few minutes. They could be hitting targets here in the United States with those missiles, and that would be unacceptable. The fact that China actually had the bravado to announce, "Oh yeah, we're doing war games. We're doing war games in the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, near Houston, Mexico, Cuba." And we know that the Chinese have a big base in Cuba, which is supposedly just a big listening spy base. What else is there? All the dual use bases they put in. Guys, so that's the alternatives we've been facing. Just think about this way. If a certain uh, Kamala got elected, the border would still be wide open. We wouldn't be deporting people. And China be doing whatever they wanted in Venezuela. China, Russia, Iran, Hezbollah has come in the United States, crossed our border with sleeper cells. I put an image of one of those guys up on a previous video sometime back on this channel. When they ask him, who is he? He says, well, soon you'll know exactly who I am. Remember that guy? Yeah, they've been coming across. They have been coming across. And I warned you about sleeper cells a long time ago on this channel. A long time ago. I've also told you that China is already at war with us. So we're by the means, and we're just too damn dumb to know it. Well, I guess Donald Trump's figured it out, and he's checkmated China to a big degree. How will it all work out? How will it all play out? Time will only tell. Will China still move on Taiwan? Will we step up to defend Taiwan? I don't know. What will be the ramifications for us here? I don't know. But getting China and Russia and Iran out of our hemisphere is not a bad thing. And a lot of the people, and by the news media, a lot of the people in other countries in South America are actually rooting for this. So, except, they had the regime in Colombia and Brazil. They're not too excited about it. Anybody who's a leftist, you can expect, the Nicaraguan and Cuban governments are not too happy with this. But a lot of the countries in South America that were leftist have switched, including Bolivia, Argentina with Malay taking over. And I think Chile's just had a switch. So uh, there is a breath of freedom starting to breathe around the world. People don't want to be controlled by autocrats. What was the House of Klaus all about? It was really about an oligarchy. And here's how you can know that Trump is against this because uh, Rubio, Secretary of State, he said they were going after the cartels and the oligarchs. And when he was talking about oligarchs, he was really talking about the big, rich House of Klaus control mafioso. That's what I like to refer to them as, because they're not any better. They're just using our industry and they're using all these companies. You go to a store and you buy all these products, and it's like you're buying products from like 100 different companies, and there's only, less than a dozen companies that control all of that stuff. And if you go and read the who's who on the World Economic Forum, oh yeah, they're big in that. So I'm going to come out with something real soon where I'm advocating we don't buy that crap. We don't support them. One way to take them on is just like Trump's trying to cut off the fuel to China. Let's don't fuel economically those who would like to uh, handcuff us into a globalist, gulag. So I think that's critical. Besides the crap they send to us, the junk you buy in the stores is full of all kind of chemicals. It's really bad for you. So I'll be coming out with something hopefully soon in that regard that I think will be real helpful. I've been working on it for a few months. I still got to get some things set up, but I'm working on it. So I'll stay quiet until I roll it out. That should be pretty soon. So I just wanted to kind of put the background to you of what we're facing in the world. We're facing globalism, either the Chinese version or the House of Klaus version. We don't need either one. And it looks like the Trump administration is kicking both back. Now, is Trump perfect? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. He's a man. But at least he is trying to do things that I think will secure our freedom better than what the alternative would have done. So that's my say on that. And I'm not saying that everything's right, but I'm just saying that, we got to look at these kind of things. So a lot of questions right now going on with, oh my gosh, the news that's coming out today was like Niagara Falls. I'm sort of trying to put all this stuff together, and stuff was just coming out left and right. Greenland, there's so much that we could go over. I'm not going to go over all that tonight. Maybe we'll do it in another video soon. I might do some stuff over on the Galactic Greg's channel. We just got a super chat. All righty. Stephanie Cook, fantastic show. Thanks for all your great work, Greg. We love you. Have a great New Year. Blessings. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat, Stephanie. I really do. Salute to you. All righty. And that's why I watch the chat here. And I don't want anything like that slip past me. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to look at the chat here on my computer where I can see it a little better. I can't do that while I'm showing you articles. So Stephanie Cook, thank you so much. And I'm just going to read through a few of these. I'm not going to read everything because I got to go tonight. Nanny Anderson, Mr. Dunham, Kathy Pittman, Simply Human. Boy, don't we all want to be human? That's what we got to work on, staying human. So I hope you and the worms are doing well. Yes, sir. I do have worms. I did have a neighbor, my Marine Corps neighbor. We'll talk OPSEC for a minute after I do this, then we'll do the egg count. My Marine Corps neighbor actually came down here every day and looked after my cat and my worms and my chickens. So I'm really blessed to have great neighbors. Monroe Doctrine, you're right. Now it's the Donroe Doctrine. So it's an energy race in part. But you got to realize China could put our energy assets at risk. And that's the real risk. China could have put us at grave risk by operating out of the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. And they did their simulations of just that. They simulated war games in our hemisphere. So it was time that something happened. Minus 14 degrees F in Alaska. Okay, Mag Rising. Where in Alaska are you, Mag Rising? I've seen colder than that. It's going to get down to about 10 or 11 degrees here in a couple of nights for a couple of nights in a row. So, Andy sings, how you doing, buddy? I'm living as best a life as I can for pup and I. Homeless 4+ years. Wow. Ouch. Very, very hard in Australia. Oh, by design, same as every other. Well, I'm glad you so much homelessness every car park up East Coast. Wow. That's tough. Well, I'm glad you're able to come in and join us. Uh, I take it you've got a home now, I hope. Uh, Arnold Schmidt, how you doing, buddy? Bob Grover, no notification. That's what, yeah, just look, when you look at the content I produce, and I've got a lot of original content, and I've got a lot of original concepts, big concepts that you don't hear on any other channel. Because I'm an engineer, I think of things, I create things. My universal habitat concept, I'm planning to build one of them. I'm planning to start planning it real soon out here. I got to work with other people to come up with the how, where ofs and how tos of it, and how to finance it because I don't have the money for it, but I got to come up with something because this is one of the most important things I could do. The West is healing. There you go. Let's hope it keeps healing. We're taking the continent back. There you go. And how do you say it? Whoosh. Whoosh. There you go. That's a good name. Whoosh. So, and Mac RW3SI. Have you seen the game theory guy, Cunningham Pepper intervened? He stated if Trump wanted to win World War III, we could take the entire Western Hemisphere first, then Africa. Well, Africa is under an assault by China too. Africa basically needs a liberation from the tribal lords that run it. It's kind of like gangs. Uh, Africa's got a lot of potential. There's a lot of good people in Africa, and they're living under these tribal societies that are warlords, and it's holding them down. Nigeria is growing like crazy, though. Some of these countries are growing. Now, I've got connections in uh, Kenya and South Africa. Good people I know down there, and some of them are family basically. Uh, Rand Paul wouldn't surprise me when he said Palestine should have its own air force. I figured he had screwed us. Yeah, something happened with Ron Paul. Rand Paul. What happened with him? Uh, I really like his dad, Rand Paul. Uh, Ron Paul, excuse me. I like Ron Paul. Rand Paul, not as much. I mean, he's got a lot of his dad's philosophy, but I think he's went off the ship in a couple places. She was the inside connection. Yeah, a lot of people think that, and that's to be determined. A lot of people think that Dulce Rodriguez was part of an inside operation for the taking of Maduro, that she was planned. I don't know. There's a lot of allegations, there's a lot of conspiracies, and maybe a little bit of knowledge floating around, but it's hard to sort the wheat from the chaff. Time will tell. Location, view, Port de Montreal matches, landmarks, and I Pet Goat. Well, I Pet Goat was an interesting video. So, hold on a moment. Holy moly. That's a good one. Holy moly. We got 12 Bravo in the house. Very good. And Latch Landbird. Mr. Input on current variable. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about OPSEC. OPSEC, again, when you're traveling, like I said, don't tell everybody you're gone. Don't tell everybody where you're at. So I didn't post pictures on Facebook. I wasn't going to do any videos at all until I got back. This thing in Venezuela was so big. I didn't say I wasn't home. I was just videoing from my van. I videoed from my van here even. I make videos from there from time to time. I made a few videos from my van. Just because you see me in my van don't mean I'm not parked out here or up on a hill or somewhere else. I've done that. I've done it right here. I've done them on my property with my van. I've done them Snowflake on my van. I've done them from Taylor in my van, local areas. In fact, I used to shoot a lot of videos out there from my van. And you might see more. And I've shot videos from my van after I moved in the house. But I didn't say I wasn't here. Uh, but that news was so big, I just had to bring it out. But I was trying to stay on the down low. Now that's very hard for a YouTube channel because you lose a lot when you're not regular. And there was a lot of news going on. Apologies for that, but it was just OPSEC. Uh, Now I did take a lot of my valuables, including a lot of my firepower with me, and I shuffled a lot of things, and I can't find some things as a result of it. And some of my things, like my camera here, the big camera, the good one, isn't working right tonight. So, I've taken a hit, for doing that. But I also have cameras set up here. So I got cameras outside. I had cameras inside. Uh, Quite a number of cameras actually now. And I can go to my phone. I got trail cameras and I got another branded camera, a mixture of them. So I got different kind of cameras. I got cameras on my roads and different places. So I know what's coming in and out. I know what's going on around here. Um, yeah, I can see all that stuff. And I'm getting more cameras. So even though I had security, I'm at the dead end of a long road, and a chain gets put up every night over about 2 miles from my house on this road. And it's got a Marine Corps guy who watches it. The hill on the other side's got a guy who's something of a sniper up there who watches things. So the place is pretty well watched. Somebody have a hard time getting in and out of here. In fact, it's not easy to get in and out of here, and when things aren't chained up, because getting up and down the hills and across the washes is problematic. I got my bus stuck on that back uh, over a year ago. First time I brought it out here. So it's not easy getting in and out here. It's not for the faint of heart. Mail won't come down here. In fact, no mail delivers out this way. Nobody delivers anything out this way. I don't even know if an ambulance would come here. I could get an air ambulance. I got places they can land a helicopter. But I'm remote. I'm very remote. And I like it that way. There's nobody living in around me. All the properties around mine are vacant. So I'm happy with that too. So I've got a really good, about as secure place as you can get, but still, OPSEC makes sense, guys. It makes sense to have good OPSEC. It's important. So you don't like the light? Everyone watching Candace drum. What's Candace? What are you talking about, Holy Moly? What is Candace? If it's on TV, I don't know nothing about anything on TV. I don't watch TV. I don't. I did some shows that are on TV, and I didn't even watch any of those. Oops, that traffic sound was from another channel. Oh, now, you don't hear any traffic here. You don't hear any traffic here. Opium war. Yeah, that's China's put the opium war back on us, and that was a bad thing that was done to China back, by the British. But we supported the British. We went over there and put troops in China to support the British and the opium war. We should have never done that. Would any one of you folks decide to work for free? I don't think you would. So Greg has invested countless hours and money upon newer equipment. That's true. So that's why I really appreciate when somebody gives me a super chat in here. Because while I'm live on here, I'm not getting ad revenue. And that is a loss. So getting super chats helps to make up for not getting ad revenue. We need Greenland immediately. Well, Greenland is really about strategic defense against Russia and China. Maybe I'll go in that minute. Let's go through the chat room in a minute. Where's my hat? I got one right here. My other old hat is over here somewhere. I'm getting beat up now. This hat, a lot of people pay to get this stuff in their hat. They buy hats that like are already pre-stained or something. No, this hat was white when I bought it. It was a white hat. It ain't white now. It's got crease. No, I wear this hat when I'm outside. I used to wear this one some, but it blows off my head. It won't stay on my head outside. Now, this one is pretty darn worn now. And I have another old hat that's in my van that I used to wear in my videos, but this one's getting pretty worn. That's got my Space Force uh, crest on there. There you go. Yeah, I like that one. That's the one I was wearing in my other video because this is the hat I wear about mostly now these days. It's because it don't blow off my head more than anything else. Although it's getting a little cool for wearing a vented hat. I had a felt type hat that I wore last winter, and I wore it on some of my videos, but I don't know where it is. It just kind of went poof. I don't know what happened to it. I got to find it or buy me another one because I need something a little warmer on my head than that. I got these scarves I could wear. What do you call these things? We call them toboggans in the South, but in the North, and the rest of the country, they call them beanie hats. I don't know. There we go. I think I've worn these in a few of my videos. When it was really cold, I was living out in my van. Well, that'll keep your head warm. I wear them when I'm asleep, and I'll pull them down my eyes if I need to sleep past sunup, because that'll give me a little darkness. But you can't do it in the summer; it's just too hot. So, anyway, my hat is white and cowboy shaped. I bought that one in New Mexico. I bought this one in New Mexico for what was called. I was had an exhibit at this space. What do you call it? X Prize Cup. Yeah, there was an event called X Prize Cup, and I was with a group. We had us a booth there, and I was going to be standing out in the sun all day. In fact, I went to that 2 years in a row, and each time I went buying a different hat. I got another one of these somewhere. Uh, so I bought it in New Mexico, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. And I've worn it off and on. Always. I didn't done videos until I got out here because I wear it more out here than I did anywhere else, just because it's just too darn windy to wear a hat blows off your head easy. And for some reason, this hat stays on my head better than the others. It just fits me better, I guess. I don't know. So that's become my go-to hat for when it's not super cold. I got to find another hat to use. All right, let's see. Grow your own food. Yep. You better also be able to purify and sanitize water. Ice Age Farmer will be at the People's Reset in Mexico. What? Did his channel get taken down? He was a nice guy. You know, I met him at LeakCon. He was a super nice guy. Ice Age Farmer. I liked him. I love the IP Holy Plaid Goat video. My voice to text is going completely. Oh, and worker garden of soul. Very good. Have we got a super chat? Rodney Middleton. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Come on, help this very smart man whom is worth more super chats. Thank you. Thank you very much, Rodney. From down under. Support from down under. Rodney is a master knifesmith. Guys, you should see him. He posts a lot of his work on Facebook, and he's excellent. I've showed some of his knives in the past, so really appreciate that, Rodney. Um, Greg did the hourglass survive the move. Um, it's packed up somewhere. I got stuff that I don't know where it is. You know, I got my big award, my Space Pioneer Award. I don't know where it is. I hope I got it. But there's some things I'm supposed to have that I ain't got more. tax records that I actually hired somebody to collate and sort and paste on things. I can't find them. Went through everything. They're just not here anymore. Somebody liberated some of my paperwork, including paperwork for my vehicles out here. I had some troubles with that. Candace opened my eyes to Kamala's lies about her family heritage. Oh, yeah. This man. Oh, you talking about Candace Owens? What are we talking about here? That's the name rings a bell with me. Um, Super Cent, does he still have a channel? I thought he was gone. Super Cent, yeah, they're trying to knock me out. Where did my last comment go? I don't know. Whoosh. Let's see. One from it says, cringe at cancer telling the truth. So, don't know. So, alrighty. We kind of went through something I was going to talk about at the end here. Um, Russia, dang, I forgot what it was. It was something I was going to talk about. I tell you what I do want to do. I want to come here and see. There's a couple of people that give me super chats, basically as donations through my website donate button, and sometimes they're not appearing in the chat. So just in the off case that they've done that tonight, I do want to give them credit. So I always check my email to see if anything's come through that way. Like just because I want to give credit where credit's due. Let's just say load messages still. There it is. No, I don't see anything. I see some email from Brian Perendi talking about OPSEC. So, yeah, that's why y'all haven't been hearing from me. It's been OPSEC. So there was something else I want to talk about. It leads me right now. I can come back and do other videos. We'll cover. There's so much to cover tonight, and I've already been on here over an hour, so we've got to go. Really, being on in over an hour is one of those time frames that you lose audience. If I'd been using my big camera, I probably run out of juice by now. The battery probably would have died. So gold is up hugely. Yes, absolutely. So you might want to go to defy, excuse me, defythegrid.com and check what they got, because they got some of the best prices out there. They operate on 2 or 3% margin, and you get 1% off if you use discount code Green Griz. People say they're setting up to buy me a coffee. I set that up one time and I couldn't get it to work right. I don't know why. I did set up, I got an account with them, but for some reason it wasn't working. But you can use my donate button on my website. Go to greengrex.com, and the front landing page lists the donate button. It's on the page where you buy worms. I'm not selling worms though. I haven't really updated those pages because it takes a lot of time. So they're all outdated. But if you scroll down, you'll find the donate button. It's the only one that works on that page. Bought some silver. Hey, there you go. So how many? Oops, if I didn't show them. How many? I was opening the carton. Hope y'all didn't see what I showed. How many eggs did I get? It's time for guess the eggs. How many eggs did we get, guys? Anybody guess how many eggs I got today for my hens? Got any guesses? First guess wins. You win untold gratitude. I'm not seeing any chat. Are y'all chatting and maybe it's just not showing up? Go over here. Oh, first guess got it. Latch Landberg. No, Latch Landberg got it. First guess. I got five. Five eggs. And let's see, I'm gonna have to look at this. Five eggs. The plant guy also guessed it, but the first guess was latch. Let me was this a latch land or latch and? Oh, what happened? I just erased. Well, I'm trying to look at my comments section and I killed the whole page, so I got to look at it here. We got five. Good thing I still got to run on my computer here. That's the eggs I harvested today. Five eggs. And had two eggs yesterday. Now the day before, and I think part of them was I think four of them was from the day before I had that. I think it was like 6 eggs. All righty. So, all the sun, how you doing? Good morning to you. It's Latch Land. Okay, Latch Land, not land. Land bird. I hope I'm saying or Latch I-N bird. I don't know. Having a hard time reading on this screen. Um, Donald Franks, how you doing? Space Girl. Yeah, you got it, but the first one was Latch Land bird. So, or Latch Land bird. I hope I'm saying it right. Super fresh. Yeah, those are super fresh. The hens are happy you're back. Oh, yeah. They're always happy to see me. How about every country taking theirs back from the same time? There you go. I wonder if I can share something else on here. Let's see. Open another screen there. Ding, 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 ding. That ain't it. Hang on. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. This is taking a while to load. May not do this. I'll show you one other thing before I went. Whoa, what? What's happening? Latchland. It means in the land of lakes. Oh, lake. So I should be saying Lakeland. Lackland or Lakeland. Is that right? Lackland or Lakeland? Loch Ness Monster. Okay. Are you in? Oh gosh, it's showing that. It's the screen I'm looking at. That ain't what I want to see. Are you in Scotland? Not real. I'm messing my screens here. Gotta be careful. Uh-oh, just lost my chat completely. I completely lost my chat. Let me see if I can bring it back up here. Back to my channel. And Greg's. There we are, live. Alrighty, guys. We got 131 watching and only 85 thumbs up. Come on, guys, give me some more. Oh, you're in the Philippines. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, Lock. It's Lock Landbird. Okay. Lock Landbird. Gotcha. Lock Landbird. All righty. The Philippines. That's awesome. Great land. Beautiful land. Beautiful people. Oh, Hillbilly. How you doing? Better than usual. More and move and counter move back and forth. Escalation ladder accelerates. Yep. All right, folks. Drew Hurst. Oh, Loch Lynn. Okay, Loch Lynn. Is that right? Loch Lynn? Yeah. My apologies, guys. My name Loch Lynn. Okay. Loch Lynn bird. Gotcha, gotcha. All righty, I'll learn these things one of these days. So, guys, we got to go. We got to go. I got to get up in the morning. I've already been on, like, and the video's going over an hour. So we're 78 minutes in. Read your post above. Hi, Arnold. Okay, that's not what you want me to read. Let me go back up somewhere else. Rodney, anyone who gives a super chat over $100 will get one of my nice free of all tariffs and changes when I complete one. I have 3 going off to heat treat now. Wow. Sheath including Den Anvil. Wow, guys. Y'all see that? Rodney says anyone who gives a super chat up of over $100 to get one of his knives free. And he's got some beautiful knives, guys. Amazing that. Imagine that. Yeah, he says he has been serious. He makes beautiful knives. So check it out. Uh, that is awesome. Well, salute to you, Rodney. Thank you, sir. That's quite an impressive, generous offer there. Guys are handmade, and he is an excellent knife smith. I swear that he is. Anyway, so y'all keep that in mind, I guess, for the next video. How long is that offer good there, Rodney? Three times its charm, Mr. Greg. Do you think that small hats are controlling the world? Yeah, there's certain people. The House of Klaus has definitely been trying to control the world and have been pretty much doing it for a long time. So, and a lot of this, the worst place is the Central Bank of London, from the City of London. And a former guy who ran the Central Bank of London somehow is now the Premier of Canada. Can you believe that? Arnold will tell you all about it, folks. I must be truthful to you all. We all know about Cha-Cha. She lives in Washington State. Major other storms and oh yeah, we hadn't heard from her. Okay, that's a good thing. You how you doing? From the Gulf of America to the shores of New Orangeland. Yeah, we need to make a new song up, right? House of Clouds. Not sure if you know him. Oh, the World Economic Forum. I'm trying not to say these words too much on here because it can draw the ire of the platform, the network, the QBU. I said backwards. Time to rewind. Yeah, you might want to catch my videos from the beginning. So we got a prayer request here basically for Cha-Cha and people up in the Northwest are having rough weather. As long as three people give over $100 in super chat. Okay. Up to three people. If you give $100 in super chat, you'll have to let me know how to contact you so I can get the information to Rodney how to get you one of his beautiful knives. So, hi, Greg family. Hey, new, good to see you. So, keep that in mind. And we'll have to show some of these knives here. So, friends, we're going to say a prayer for Cha-Cha and all the people up in the Northwest who are having bad weather. We need to pray that the people in Venezuela and Iran actually get liberty. I think that's important. Yes, whoosh. And I want to say Klaus Schlauber, he's the man that ran it. And the word Schlauber is Schwab. You know, I got to be careful. You can't talk normal language on YouTube without getting all kind of trouble. So I have to use code words. So I pray for the postage from Australia. Oh, you pay for it. Now, Rodney's been really generous here, guys. He's been super generous. He puts a lot of time into making these knives. Keep that in mind. He puts a lot of time and a lot of love into it. He's a master knife smith. So that is a very generous offer. I mean, you'll pay that for knives from other people that aren't as good as his, I think. So, yeah, let's do a prayer session. And if you can think of anybody else. So the way we do it on my channel, we do prayer sessions from time to time. And I'm not here to tell you how to pray because it's not a religious channel, although I do believe, and I've said it many times. So everybody can pray according to their own faith. And if you don't have a faith, moment of silence is golden. So I'm not one of the, just curious. Yeah. All stainless steel. You guys are great knives. Absolutely stunning knives. So let's do that. Let's do a little prayer session here. You will work for nothing and be happy. Yeah, he's the guy. Exactly. Locke Lindbergh. I say it right that time. He's the one, his organization says you will have no privacy. You will own nothing and you'll be happy. Yeah, right. Oh yeah, he's the one who always says, "Eat the bugs." He wants us to eat bugs while he dines on steaks. He'd be happy eating bugs, flashy slide. Exactly. These guys have the audacity to tell you that you need for a car, you need to drive an electric lawnmower for your car. But while they fly around on jets, personal jets and charter jets to places like Davos, they have their annual climate conference in Davos to try to tell you not to use propane and to try to put everything into electricity, which we're not going to have enough of, and to have you cut back on everything. You quit eating steaks, you eat the bugs, while they dine on lobster and steak and fly around in their jets. It's really hypocritical, but that's how they are. They're trying to set up a new feudal system, and Trump is kicking sand at it. So I'm thankful for that. Uh, anyway, now that that's explained, I've done several videos on that in the past. You can go back to them. The problem is I've got a zillion videos on here, so you got to really search to find stuff. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, let's say a prayer real quick. Cha Cha and all these other people that need help. Yeah. Amen. How bad we think things are for our situations, always others in worse shape. That's right, Arnold. You think you got it bad, you can always find somebody that's in a worse predicament. So that happens a lot. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of people that need help, prayers. So I don't mind, doing that. We've done that a lot of times on this channel. And Cha Cha is, one of our family here. Anyway, we got some regulars, and a couple of our beloved regulars have passed away. One of them who used to be very regular and was always so supportive. Um, we lost many, lost a few people. My crowd, we're an older crowd here. Most of my viewers are around my age and maybe 10 years younger. That's the bulk of the viewers here. But Granny Lana was the one who was always on. She was real sweet. She had adopted a lot of kids that needed help, and that was tough. She had a big heart, and she was a big time regular on here. So uh, I always used to say, I'd end my videos with ho ho ho. She'd always say I believe, and for that reason I still do it. Just because she'd always come back, just a memory of her. In fact, I kept doing it because she'd always come back and say I believe. I always thought that was sweeter. So uh, thank you all the sun for that. 70 last October degrees. Well, you're in the Philippines, right? So, are you somebody from the Philippines that I know? It's like, I don't know that title. Let's see here. Yeah, it's supposed to get down to 10 Friday night here. And we're supposed to get rain today. I might get rained in, and tomorrow, 61% today, 71 tomorrow, which is unusual, but it's probably not going to be heavy. Age. Ingrid's Walmart. Let me know via text. Yeah, I just went there because I needed to make sure I had enough supplies in case I get rained in. Where I'm at, because there's a hill you got to climb to get out of here, and the hill's clay. If it's raining or snowing, if it's got any appreciable precipitation, you're stuck here. You don't get in or out. And I'm not the only one that lives that way out here in the high desert. There's a lot of other people. If you get a rain, they get stuck where they're at. And so you just try to make sure you got enough whatever you need before it happens so that you're okay. So I may not be getting over to Walmart again, Arnold, until Friday or Saturday. Arnold helps me out. He sends me a donation directly through Walmart. So salute to him for all his support and many others in here. Lived all my life, and we don't have her in here tonight, but the Colorado Jan has been a real blessing to us. Lived all my life in Central Valley, California. Oh, okay. Just you got family, I guess, in the Philippines. Central Valley, California. All right. First time I was in Central Valley, California was in 1983 when I was driving down from Alaska. And I was so impressed by the fruits there. Because there was these orchards that grow apricots and peaches and just everything. And they were so much better than I'd ever found them anywhere else. They were just amazing, big, plump, fresh fruits. I was totally impressed with them. I don't know what it's like there now. So I know California's been hard on the farmers. So I hope it's still something like that. But that was a lovely experience to see all the fruit, the trees, the orchards, and to get such fresh fruit. And the raisins were just unbelievably far better than anything getting to the store anywhere. It was great. I love that part. So speaking of that, that's when I got out of the Army. I was in the Army when the hostage crisis occurred. And I was, it means something to me what's going on in Iran because I was at Fort Bragg when it occurred, and we directly supported the 82nd Airborne. I was in the Signal Battalion, and they had us packed up, ready to go. I remember your first appearance on the Elite Project. All right, very good. Appreciate that. Yes, that's how I really started on YouTube, appealing to people to attend my Power Grid Defense conferences I was running. So I've been, most of your YouTubers are just on here talking. So all they ever do is talk. I try to do things. I'm proactive. I'm a member right now of two Power Grid Defense organizations. Uh, so yeah, hi to Rex. And Rex and I talk to each other still a lot. He's a good buddy of mine now. I like Rex. I think the world Rex Bear. And Diamond also over Oppenheimer Ranch project. So, but anyway, when I was at Fort Bragg and the hostage crisis occurred, uh, they planned a rescue mission, but obviously they didn't. They had different options they were looking at. They were looking at a larger option than what they exercised, and we had everything packed. I lived off base because I had a wife and a small baby boy, and they sequestered me on base. I had to stay on base for 2 weeks. I was sequestered. I couldn't leave. I was the armor. I had an arms room. I had to sleep in my arms room on the floor because I would not have a room in the barracks. And so I did that. And they took all our equipment and put it on the tarmac at Pope Air Force Base in shipping containers. Everything was ready to go to Iran. And I was not a happy camper because I had 250 people assigned to my unit. I only had a quantity of 200 M16s, and out of those, only 40 would function. The reason for that is there were some itty bitty parts, two itty bitty parts that were in very short supply. A M16 has to extract a shell. I have one there. It's a blank one. It has to extract a shell. And so there's a lip back here. It's got an extractor. It's a little flat spring that grabs it and pulls it out of the chamber after it's fired. And then the bolt has a little pin that pushes on one corner of it and pushes it and throws it out of the chamber and ejects it. Well, I was looking dark in this video right now. What's going on? I'm darker than normal. So I can get my light a little brighter. Battery must be about dead. Anyway, so the extractor spring and the ejector pin has a tiny, it's a bitchy little spring, and that's what I was missing mostly. Couldn't get them. And all these rifles won't work for the lack of penny ante parts. A bucket full of them might have cost $5. And they never came in the whole time. I had them on request for a long time. They never came in the whole time until Ronald Reagan got elected president. When Ronald Reagan got elected, everything changed. We weren't, Jimmy Carter's army was a rag-bag army, but they worked for him in the Delta Force. So they were about to send us all to Iran. They had us make out our wills, take our shots, and they told us it was going. They said, "You're going to Iran. You going?" We had a crescendo building up every day. And I'm laying there sleeping in the floor of the arms room, and you start dreaming about combat. If you think you're going to combat, you're going to start dreaming about it. And suddenly one day they just said, "Okay, everybody go home." I'm like, "What? I was going to Iran. Go home? Nothing's happened. What are you talking about?" Well, okay, I went home. I'm laying on my bed, and it's morning. My wife, I was married at the time. My wife she's passed away, unfortunately. She was cooking breakfast, sausage and bacon. You could smell it. I'm half asleep, laying in bed, and suddenly I'm hearing like, a bus of Iranians getting captured, a plane blowing up, and all kind of mayhem. And I thought I was dreaming that. And then suddenly I realized, no, this is on the radio. Man, I shot out of that bed. I thought my phone was going to be ringing any minute, and I'm telling me, "Get your back in here right now. We're going to work." But I got listening to the broadcast. And I thought, what? You know, Basically, the whole operation fell apart because equipment didn't work. They didn't have little penny spare parts like I didn't have from arms room. It's across the whole army. And the whole mission fell apart for dumb things like that because it was a ragbag military under Jimmy Carter. And it was a real shame. It was a real shame. Helicopter sucked in sand. Yeah, they did. But they got them before they fly them around here now. But it was not just the helicopters. They had an incident with a C-130. They had they had all kind of issues with parts. They didn't have spare parts. Like when you got sand in your system, they just didn't have the right stuff. They weren't prepared for it. And I thought, really? Wow, how lame. And it was just like, you know, what I had to go take over. I was infuriated. I was going to be sent to combat. My unit was with what we had. Because he used to always tell us, "Well, if you go to war, we're going to give you all new stuff." Well, you go, because we always thought we'd be going to war in Europe. Oh yeah, we'll give you everything's prepositioned, or you'll have all new M16s, you'll have this, you'll have that. So I was like, okay. But when it came down to it, no, it wasn't the case. But I got that arms room squared away before I left. I mean, I worked in there 16-hour days trying to fix everything. And I got everything perfectly squared away, and then I got assigned and went to Alaska. And like 2 weeks after I left, after working in that arms room for over a year, some other little lady was there who didn't know what a TM 38750 was, which is the Army's maintenance manual, which is crucial to all this. She didn't know what it was, but we got hit by an inspector general, the unit did, and the whole unit failed miserably, except for the arms room. The arms room passed with flying colors. And guess what? She got an RCOM for it. She got an RCOM. Well, anyway, isn't that funny? So that's how things break out. But I'm glad I got the arms room squared away because that unit got sent to Grenada right after I left it. Had I went to Grenada, I'd have had a battle stripe and got more, qualified for more federal stuff than what I can now. But anyway, I'm glad I got the arms room squared away because they needed it. I've been home way too long now. So, uh, Logaffy, is that the way you say that? Was just looking at that pet goat channel. It's Montreal. Yeah, it was made out of Canada. It was. Uh, Heliofant was the producers of it. I was trying to show y'all something, but just want to bring it up here. Forgot about I got talking about telling stories here. I got back. My cat was really glad to see me. I'm gonna have to figure out somebody what to show y'all pictures. Let's see, I don't know if you can see that. That's Smokey right there. There's Smokey. Smokey the cat. Yeah, I've seen him on a couple of the videos out here. Anyway, guys, all right, we prayed. We did the egg count. Go back and catch us on the rewind if you missed all the news content up front. So, Lachlan Spring or Bird, let's see, that spring is key component. Yes, you have extra stored. Good move. Stories are good and so are cats. All right, very good, fun time. Anyway, well, we're family here, and that's why I take a little extra time. Guys, and one of the other channels I like does this a lot, and that is um, Ed over at Prepper Nurse One. I like Ed. He's one of the good guys. I like Ed, Prepper Nurse One, and I like Steve Popper. Those are both real good guys, both of them. I give a shout out to them. And Ed always does a lot of shout outs to a lot of other channels. Maybe we should do that sometime. But give me some thumbs up, guys. We need some more before we go out of here. War sucks, absolutely. War's horrible. War's horrible. And and soldiers want war less than anybody, but they're prepared to do it. Just one of those things. You don't want a war. You don't want to have to go to war. But that's what you're there for. If you're needed, you got to be ready for it. That's the bottom line. The wars are horrible. We got to get out of this war business at some point soon. We're not going to survive ourselves. They just come up with AIs designing viruses now. It could be bioweapons. I need to cover that soon. It's horrible stuff. Anyway, he looks like Homer Simpson's dead. Who's that? Homer Simpson's dead. Anyway, guys, let's go. I got to go. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you, mods. Thank you, super chatters. Thank you, super chatters tonight. Thank you, mods, for everything you've done to keep the channel clean. After the previous video, I'm expecting we might get some, we might see some, what do you call them, trolls coming in here. So, I'm glad to have we have really good super, we got great mods that control that, keep the trolls out. Y'all done a great job in that in the past and keeping language clean. So I appreciate all that. And I want to thank everyone for watching. And with that, I'm going to say, one and all, a good day, good night, wherever you are. And ho, 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 in memory of Granny Lana.